I'm here with Praveen Sengar, who's the CEO of Etek, and thank you for your time. We're here in your impressive offices in Bogotá, Colombia.
Pleasure, Lauren. Welcome.
Great.
Appreciated flying out into Medellin, and really appreciate you coming down here.
Any excuse to get to Bogotá, I always try to take advantage of. So I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I wanted to talk to you as someone who, as the CEO of Etek, you've been based here in Bogotá now for I think a little bit less than a year. I know that you're already a global citizen. You've got experience all over the world in IT. I know that you were the CIO of a multinational company in the Asia Pacific region. You've got experience in the Asian mainland. You've got experience in Singapore, in North America. Could you speak a little bit about your journey and how you arrived here in Bogotá, Colombia?
Sure. So it's a long journey, Lauren, and it's an interesting journey. I think it was not an easy journey. As you said, I've been in Singapore for almost 10 years, lived in different parts of the world. I was like a global citizen traveling across different parts of the world. So it was not an easy decision to come to Latin America and take a role here. But I had, a very diverse experience. I started my career in consulting, research and advisory. I worked with firms like Gartner. Then I moved into sales. I worked in firms in the sales roles, set up a digital practice for 2 years. And then I moved into operations, became CIO. So I had a lot of different exposure in my career. And, it was interesting that my chairman reached out to me. He said, you want to, transform Etek, make it as a global company, and why don't you come as a CEO and running a US company with operations in Latin America, and it was an interesting challenge. And I was initially thinking, I have not very experienced in Latin America. I don't speak Spanish, and I'm still learning that. And why me? And essentially, I just said, we can talk. It's interesting, but why me? And he said, no, because and he told me something interesting. If a leader has a diverse experience and right attitude, the context does not matter. Context can change with the leaders who has competencies can bring in and bring that change, and you can transform, and you have a lot of transformation experience. And I'm sure it will be helpful if you come here and join Etek.
Wow.
So I said yes, that's interesting. And then I came to Colombia. I met the team here. I really enjoyed interacting with everyone. I found some very interesting people, very good, very knowledgeable. It was some of the skills level that I found was beyond expectations. So essentially, I've had a nice surprise that there were so good technical skills available in the market here. And then I realized that they have very strong, experience in security, and it's not easy to have that diverse experience because normally, if you go to any SI, they have 1 or 2 practices. They will be having 1 or 2 niche practices where they're strong in. Etek was doing almost 6 or 7 portfolios, and they were strong in 6, 7 portfolios. They're doing services. So I said, it's an interesting challenge, and I can take this challenge and make it as a global organization. And that kind of prompted me to leave my comfort zone, working for a multinational, working as a CIO, looking at 13 countries, and come here and take this challenge.
Wow, it's really impressive. How much experience, if any, did you have in Latin America or the Caribbean before taking this role?
To be honest, I didn't have any experience, a very limited experience of Latin America. I just, as a Gartner analyst, I was, I was having calls from different parts of the world. So I used to speak to clients from different parts of the world, like, US, Europe, Latin America, Asia Pacific. I had exposure of client interactions, but working full-time into Latin America, I didn't have any experience.
Okay.
So it was, it is like my first 1-year experience in Latin America, and very, very nice and very enriching experience. I just completing 1 year. I was thanking that I took that decision. I was telling my wife that it was a great decision that we took, and we left Singapore, and we came here, and we tried something new and some different culture, and work with different people, and and it has taught us a lot. Essentially in the last 1 year, not only in the official way, but also in the family side, personal side. Interacting with different types of people in schools. So a very good experience, I would say, overall.
It's impressive. We're right here in the north side of Bogotá. We're in the kind of the international sector. I know many people here from all over the world, and you mentioned family, and so tell me how would you describe the adjustment or the adaptation of not just you, but of your family to moving here to Bogota, not being Latino, not kind of coming up in the region? You know, it's one thing if somebody's a British guy in Hong Kong, right? That's a lot different than coming from the Asia Pacific region to South America. What has been the experience like for you as an expat executive, but then also for your family to move here in South America?
Sure. So I think there are two aspects which I would bring in. One, I feel that what I found that as any emerging markets, you have their own challenges and you have own advantages, right? And when you come from mature markets, since I was born and brought up in India, I've seen an emerging market. I spent a lot of my time in India, so an emerging market and a developing market. So I know how developing a market works. And a lot of that experience helped because you don't expect anything. Whatever you get, you adjust and you move on. So it's not like you have very high expectations. You know that the things will change and gradually progress as you go along. And you adjust and you evolve with different things as you go along, right? So that's kind of, that helped me essentially to settle down when you come to Colombia. I think one of the things which I also liked is that there are very warm and friendly people here.
Yes.
And there is not any biased, normally there is a bias, so there is no bias in the people here. People don't have any patterns or mindset thoughts that they have against or towards you. And they're very open and they're warm and friendly people. So you talk to them and you will adjust very fast to people and you understand how people think. They're very easygoing people and essentially more family oriented, more balanced oriented. So essentially it was easy to interact, work with them, and they had very open arms. They welcome you very well. You get open arms and they welcome you and they work with you. So essentially that was easy to adjust and mingle, essentially work with different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Language was a bit of a barrier initially when you came in, but you get used to it slowly and you start learning Spanish. But I had some support system which was helping me in that part, and it made me easier to adjust to that language part.
Right.
So that was a little bit of a challenge, but it was good. But I think where the feelings match, language also does not become a barrier. So,
right.
So essentially that was easy, I can say. For professionally, I find, as I said, a very good technical talent here, and essentially one of the best in the world, I would say.
Wow.
And I was very surprised with that kind of talent here, and we did a lot of good stuff, new partnerships, new technologies, and I think this team can take it global easily. So we started conceptualizing 2 delivery centers, bringing them together, one in India, one in Latin America, and we bring them together. We start knowledge transfer, and we can create 2 global delivery centers, essentially. And I think I just worked a little bit more on the focus part to increase the focus of the team. So essentially trying to drive more focus in the organization, where we should focus more, and what are the key goals that we need to achieve, and how we should move forward. We involved everyone in part of the strategy and working towards that direction. And people are supportive, and they didn't shy away saying that I don't know it. If they don't know it, they'll say I don't know it, and they learn in that process, and you gradually start moving and maturing in the organization. So that was another area that we worked on. We tried to bring a lot of rigor in the organization, a lot of hard work, and a lot of collaboration. So we can collaborate and when we can work together moving forward. For the family, adjusting into Latin America is not easy, I would say. Leaving Singapore, because there was a very different world, and they had a very developed world. They have different kinds of things. In a developed economy like Singapore, it's more structured. It's more well defined. Everything works as you plan.
Right.
So it works according to the plan. So for them it was not easy, but my wife was very supportive. She also wanted to experience different culture and economy, and she says, I'm very happy with this change. It was a little bit challenging for my kids, especially for my son, who's almost 15 years old, a teenager, and for him it was a little challenging because he has spent majority of his life in Singapore, 10 years in Singapore.
Yeah.
So for him it was a bit of a challenge, but he also got used to it slowly, and I'm happy that he witnessed that change, because change brings a lot of new dimensions.
Brings growth.
So that was that, and my daughter was quite okay. She was like, yeah, this is fine, I can learn Spanish, I learn Chinese,
Wow.
Singapore. I can learn Spanish now, and she's doing well.
Global
so it was,
citizen.
So she is excited, but for Sun it was a bit of a challenge.
Wow, great. What have been some of the unexpected delights from your first year or so here in Colombia?
So I think I felt initially that when you take any new organization, there has to be an acceptance, right? And you feel like when you're doing transformation, it is not easy because transformation requires a lot of ground level work with people.
Right.
It also requires to stretch people because you have to stretch yourself to transformation. Transformation never happens in comfort zone.
Right.
And it requires to go beyond your comfort zone, try to do things differently, try to do things in a different way. So the challenge was to stretch the team and move into transformation, and they have their regular jobs plus transformation jobs. So initially I thought that it might be a little longer than I expected, but the team came along very well, and we started seeing results in 6 months time frame.
Okay.
So that was an unexpected deal. And I think when COVID came, we stood as a team, together as a team. We defined that we will not let go people because of cost.
Wow, great.
And we continued with everyone in the organization. We try to sustain as many people as we can, and we let go some people because of performance, but none because of cost. We worked as a team. We worked harder. We started innovating more. And we launched products in new solutions in 30 days. I'm talking about signing the partnerships to defining solutions to launching to market in 30 days. So that was a big surprise for me. And the pace at which we transformed, I thought it will take maybe 9 months or 12 months. We start seeing results in 6 months.
Wow.
And I think technical point I'd already talked about, that we have very good technical resources. That was a big surprise, pleasant surprise for me. And the ability of people to adopt change. So, there was a lot of, I think there was some bias that maybe people will not be open to so much change, quickly, but people did adopt to change. They came along, and that was a good surprise as well.
Impressive, impressive. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.